Hey everyone, welcome to Adventures in Everyday Cooking, where every day can be an adventure in your kitchen. My name is Heather, and today is a freezer meal adventure. Now, my new hairstylist, you like the hair? Yes. She is having a wee little baby in December, and I thought it would be a good idea for me to start giving her freezer meals so that she is ready and her freezer is stocked with healthy meals that will get her through those early days of having a baby in the house. So today we're gonna do chickpea and wild rice soup for the freezer, and I'm gonna do one better. We're gonna cook one so I can show you the results and what it looks like when it comes out. So are you ready for this absolutely awesome recipe and adventure? I hope you are, so let's get started. And here's what you're gonna need. Half a cup of yellow onion, diced, 1 cup of shredded carrots, 1 teaspoon minced garlic, 1 cup of uncooked wild rice, 2 cans of chickpeas, drained, 4 cups of vegetable broth, or you can use chicken broth. I prefer the chicken broth. 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of poultry seasoning, 1/4 of a teaspoon of celery salt, pinch of red pepper flakes, and optionally you can make this with chicken, 1 pound of cooked chicken breast, shredded or chopped. If you plan to put this in the freezer, you also need 2 gallon-sized freezer bags, or if you have a food saver, just 1 bag will do just fine. Okay, so freezer meals are something that I absolutely have a passion for. In fact, several times while I was in California, I got my ladies groups together and we did freezer meals and we made hundreds of meals in just 2 hours. All of them for your freezer. Basically, most of them you take out of the freezer, you put right into your pressure cooker, and you cook from frozen. They revolutionize the busy mom's life, and they revolutionize the new moms, that has a wee one. They'll help get hot, nutritious meals on the table with very little effort. So over the next couple weeks, I thought I would make some meals and help stock her freezer and share them with you. So this first meal, like I mentioned, is called chickpea and wild rice soup. And what I've done here is I have my food saver bag and I have written all of the directions for her on the front of the bag. I will be giving her the recipe as well, just so that she can see what's in it. And if she happens to smudge this, which I've never had one smudge, I use permanent marker on the outside, it should be just fine. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my bag inside of some kind of jar or something so that when I add my ingredients inside, it doesn't spill all over the place. So this is just a huge mason jar that I got from the supermarket or whatever. So what I will probably do for her is that every time I put a freezer meal into my freezer for her, I'm going to print out the recipe and then I'm going to put it in a 3-ring kind of idea so that whenever I deliver the meals, I can just deliver all this as well, and she will have it at a glance. These are just page protectors and little like binder clips, and it makes it very easy for me to add it to and take away. So first thing you're gonna wanna do is get your broth in. I'm gonna use chicken broth, but the original recipe actually called for vegetable broth if you are making this vegetarian. However, I'm gonna actually use chicken, so I wanna use chicken broth in my soup. And even if I wasn't going to add chicken to it, I still prefer the flavor of chicken broth in this recipe. So we're just gonna get the 4 cups of chicken broth right inside of our bag. Next, we're gonna add our garlic, all of our seasonings, and then we're gonna give that a little stir. Onion goes in, carrots go in, and then we're gonna give that a little stir again because I wanna make sure everything's stirred in. Okay, and now we're gonna get in our chickpeas. Does it matter what order you put these in? Not really, but yes, I feel like it does because I've made this enough for my freezer. I feel like if I add the rice first or some of the dry things first, everything tends to clump together, and then when it comes out and goes into Instant Pot, it's all frozen and it's all kind of clumped together in one spot. And since then I won't see it until I open the pot again, I just really feel like this is the better option to like add liquids first and then go build up from there. Next, we're gonna add the rice. So this is just a regular wild rice. It's not wild rice pilaf. It's just the wild rice that you get from the store with no carrots or anything else in it. It is no seasonings. It's just the rice itself. And we're gonna give that a little mixy mix one more time. Looks great. And now we're gonna add our 1 pound of already cooked chicken. It's important that it's already cooked because of the way how it cooks later. Just trust me on this. You want it to be already cooked. You could almost bring it up to cooked and then get it in, but I have not noticed that there has been a problem with the way that it comes out. It is delicious. Okay, let's just go ahead and get that in. All right, looks great. All right, and then we're gonna give the jar another little swirly around. And as you swirl it, that is gonna go whoop, down inside. And guess what? We're done with this freezer meal. Now, getting it out of the jar sometimes is a little tricky, but because there's all that liquid in there, it should be just fine. She says that now, but of course, we won't know until we actually get it out of the jar. All right, this might have been too much for this jar. I haven't ever made it in this jar. Usually I make it in a jar with no edges so I can just lift it right out. But we may have to do a little fancy footwork here. That's what I get for purchasing something I've never used before to make the soup. We're not gonna panic though. We're just gonna get another bag. I think what happened was I didn't make my bag tall enough, but that's okay. Learn from my mistakes. Make sure that whatever you decide to make it in has straight sides. Or alternately, you can just get someone to hold it, but usually I don't. Okay, we have relabeled the bag, and now we will transfer this beautiful stuff into the bag and go from there. It's fine. So just be well mixed. There we go. Well, it's always an adventure here in my kitchen. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to seal this into the meal that it is. Now, I have mentioned before that I really enjoy this heads up machine. And this is why. For things like soup that have a lot of liquid in them, I can just go like this and it will not spill all over the place. If I would have had a smaller machine, being able to get that in there without spilling is quite a feat. You have to like put your machine up on something so that it doesn't spill all over the place. But I love this design. I will leave a link to my food saver in the info of this video, but this is my favorite one so far. And I think if something was to happen to it, I would definitely get a similar model or something. But I've had it now for what, 3 years? And I totally love it. Okay, so we are gonna seal it. Now, if you weren't using a food saver bag, you would just put it in a Ziploc, and it does fit in a gallon-sized Ziploc, and then put that Ziploc inside of another Ziploc. Why do you need to put a Ziploc inside of a Ziploc? Because if it leaks, then you have everything contained. So here we go. We're just going to seal this up, and as it seals, I'm just gonna kind of go like this. And freezer meal is done. In just a little bit, you have a freezer meal all ready for the freezer. And there we have it. Look at that. Now, I like to flatten my meal out when I freeze it in the freezer, and I'll show you why in just a moment. Because when it defrosts, this will actually defrost much faster, and I can kind of break it up and get it into my Instant Pot. The other idea is that if you have the freezer space, you can actually take your Instant Pot out and put your meal inside it and make everything fit inside your pot, and then put this pot in the freezer, because then whenever you unfreeze this meal later, you will actually get it. It's the size of your pot and it just goes right in. But since I don't know what size Instant Pot she has, and she does have one, we had the discussion, I'm gonna freeze it flat. And because I thought ahead, I have one ready to come out and go into the Instant Pot so I can show you what it looks like when it's done. And this is what it looks like when it comes out of the freezer. Now, I did not put chicken in this one because I wanted it vegetarian, but there is chicken stock in it. But I'm gonna show you how to get it into your Instant Pot and how you get it started and going. So, first thing I do when I do it flat is I try to break it in half. All right, and then I'm just gonna cut off the top. And this meal can not only be cooked from frozen, but it can also be cooked from thawed. So if you don't wanna fuss with, figuring out how to get it into your Instant Pot, definitely just let it defrost for a couple seconds and then get it in. The difference in time is only about 2 minutes. So we're just going to break this apart and get it right into our pot. So we're gonna break it. There we go. As long as it's underneath the thing, then it'll be fine. Now we're gonna add 1/4 of a cup of hot water. All right, and here I have my hot water, and usually what I like to do is just pour it down the side of whichever one is sticking out. And then usually it will go low enough for me to get it all in there. It might be low enough for me to get it in there because once it starts to melt, it'll be fine. Okay, so now we're gonna get it right into our Instant Pot. And let's check to see if our lid fits with it sticking up like that. There we go. Now, generally you wanna make sure everything is underneath that fill line, but as that starts to defrost, it will go down. You'll be just fine. Okay, so here we're going to push pressure cook. We're gonna bring it to 30 minutes and we're gonna take the keep warm setting off, and that's it. As soon as the 30 minutes is over, we are going to let it natural pressure release for 10 minutes. And then I'm gonna be back here to show you what it looks like, and you can definitely eat it as soon as it comes out of the pressure cooker, but I'm gonna show you what it looks like if you want to make it creamy chicken and wild rice soup. You guys, this is a fantastic recipe. Even if you only get all the ingredients and put it into the pot and make it tonight, you guys, this is an amazing recipe. Okay, I'll be back in like 35 minutes or so to show you the results. Okay, so the Instant Pot beeped about 5 minutes ago, so I thought I would throw together the creamy part of this soup. Now, like I mentioned, you actually don't have to do this step. There are seldom times that I actually do this because I enjoy it being a brothy soup rather than a creamy soup, but I also enjoy it being a creamy soup. So I thought I would do this variation today, but know that you don't have to do this step before you eat this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get our burner here, medium, sorry for the rattle, and we're gonna get our butter in it, and we're also going to get our cornstarch, and we're gonna kind of make a roux. I pre-melted my butter, by the way. Otherwise, you just put cold butter in there and let the pan do it for you, whatever. Then I'm gonna add my cornstarch, and I'm just going to mix it together, and we're gonna make it into a nice little roux. We're basically just cooking that flour. All right, once you see this start to kind of come together in a slop, and that looks perfect, we're gonna add our milk. And we're gonna add it a little slowly and get that in. If you wanted to use your sauce whisk, this would be a good place to use your sauce whisk. By the time this comes together, and I started it about 5 minutes before our 10-minute rest time is up, this should be ready to go into that pot. All right, and our goal is to get all the lumps out of this creamy sauce. All right, and once you see it all well blended, we're actually going to turn off the power because we don't want to cook it much more at all because it will continue to thicken once it goes into that hot soup. Okay, the timer's off, so I'm going to step back and I'm gonna use Walter to release the pressure. For those of you that don't know Walter, he is a pressure cooker diverter. You can find him on Amazon. I will leave a link in my info, but I always get comments when I use Walter because he is quite awesome. He saves your cupboard. So if you have your Instant Pot on your cupboard area, you can divert it away from whatever's above your cupboard and it'll just shoot out. It's really kind of a fancy little tool. Okay, we're down. Looky here. Now, if this was chicken, you would see the chicken inside there, but since it is not chicken, it is vegetarian, or not really vegetarian, it just doesn't have any chicken in it because I use chicken broth. Now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add our white sauce. So let's go ahead and just add that all in. And then we're gonna give that a good stir. And you guys, dinner is now served. Oh my goodness. Okay, and I'm just gonna take a ladle and I'm going to ladle out this soup into our bowl. And oh my goodness, this is the creamiest, the most delicious soup on the planet. It's delicious. Look at that. And if you have some fresh parsley, definitely put some fresh parsley on there. But since I don't, I'll use some dried parsley. And we're gonna just sprinkle it just to give it a little bit of color. And you guys, dinner is now done. This is a freezer meal that I probably make at least twice a season. I don't wanna say twice a month because I don't make it that much because I actually have so much more to make in my repertoire, so I just try to make it whenever I have a chance or when I'm really craving a soup. So let's give it a taste. I have to blow on it. Oh my goodness, this soup is so good. It's almost like you've put cream of something in it, but there's no cream of anything in it. It is just what you put in a pot, and it is so good. It meets so many of my needs, my comfort. It's comfort food, and it is amazing. The chickpeas in it, the wild rice in it, and this one has no chicken, but if it had chicken, it would just make it that much heartier. It is such a great soup and so incredibly easy for you to throw it together. Put into your freezer for a rainy day. As luck would have it, today is a very rainy day. We have a storm blowing through here, and so this is a perfect meal for today. So, all right, well, my other one's in the freezer now. I'm going to deliver it to my hairstylist sometime in the next week, and she's gonna enjoy it, I assume. I can't speak for her, but I can tell you that every time I have used this recipe in our once a month cooking kind of freezer meal workshops, everyone raves about it. So you don't have to take my word for it. You should make it, and then you should tell me what you think. All right, you guys, well, if you enjoyed that video, give it a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. I do videos several times a week, and I'm always looking for the next adventure. So if you have an idea for me, leave it in the comments below. Otherwise, I will see you on the next adventure. And you know it's gonna be a good one because pumpkin season is coming. Soup season, pumpkin season, like baking season. Oh my gosh, there's not enough days in the week for me to adventure. And I hope to bring you along on a lot of them. All right, you guys, we'll see you later.